Wednesday, March 13. Satan's last great deception. Revelation chapter 16 verse 12, which was our verse for yesterday, tells us that the purpose of the drying up of the Euphrates is to prepare the way for the kings from the east. In the Old Testament, the kings from the east were Cyrus and his forces coming down from the north, then approaching Babylon from the east, as we read in Isaiah 41, verse 25. I have raised up one from the north, and he shall come. From the rising of the sun he shall call on my name, and he shall come against princes as though mortar, as the potter treads clay. Their conquest of Babylon made the return of God's people to their homeland possible, as we read in Isaiah 44, 27 and 28. Who says to the deep, Be dry, and I will dry up your rivers? Who says of Cyrus, He is my shepherd, and he shall perform all my pleasure, saying to Jerusalem, You shall be built, and to the temple, Your foundation shall be laid. In the same way, the symbolic drying up of the Euphrates prepares the way for the coming of the kings from the east to provide deliverance to God's end-time people. The kings from the east in Revelation 16:12 are Christ and his army of heavenly angels. At his second coming, Jesus will appear with his angelic host, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, as we read in Revelation 19:14, which is the dress of sinless angels, as we see in Revelation 15 verse 6. And out of the temple came the 7 angels having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure bright linen, and having their chests girded with golden bands. Accompanied by the host of heaven, Christ will, as Revelation 17:14 shows, overcome the satanic forces that oppress his people. Revelation 17:14 reads, These will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. And we're asked to compare that with Matthew 24, verses 31 and 30. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other. This final conflict against Christ and his people, leading up to the second coming, is known as the Battle of Armageddon. Question. Read Revelation 16, verses 13 and 14. What is the role of the 3 unclean spirits in the preparation for the Battle of Armageddon? How are they a satanic counterfeit of the 3 angels' messages of Revelation 14? Also check out 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. Revelation 16, beginning at verse 13, And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of demons, performing signs, which go out to the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. And 1 Timothy 4:1. Now the Spirit expressly says that in latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. Through the final events leading up to the close of probation, every human being will be led to choose on which of the 2 sides he or she will stand in the Battle of Armageddon. As a prelude to this spiritual warfare, John sees 3 demonic spirits resembling frogs. Satan's last attempt to deceive involves demonic, lying spirits. The dragon, paganism and spiritualism, the sea beast, Roman Catholicism, and the false prophet, apostate Protestantism, unite under Satan's command, as we see in Revelation 13, 11 and 12. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Satan enables the lamb-like beast to perform miraculous signs, as we read in verses 13 to 17. He performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on this earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And that includes spiritualistic manifestations. These signs are part of Satan's end-time deceptive strategy to persuade the world to follow him rather than the true God. Blinded by their hatred of God and his truth, the leaders of the world readily believe Satan's lies, which are cloaked in a pleasing religious guise, as we read in 2 Thessalonians 2, 9-12. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Ultimately, they will unite in the final battle, leading to the end of this world. You have been listening to a reading of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. This service is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and Christian Services for the Blind. Remember, God is always faithful.